Okay guys, welcome back. Now we're progressing nicely and now we've come to this particular section just here. Now I'm going to split this section over a couple of lectures because we have quite a lot of area to cover. Now what we have is a bunch of tick boxes, so we can see here what type of vehicle do you use, and we have car ticked. Now that's fantastic, but because there's a fundamental issue in the way that this template's been set up, I would imagine the intent behind this particular section is for us to be able to choose only one of the three options for each of these lines. So I can see that I have car ticks, but if I move over to motorbike and tick that, ideally what we want to do is untick the car box automatically, but the way it's been set up at the moment is I can actually tick all three or any combination of them, and exactly the same in the ones below. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is how you actually add these tick boxes on to begin with. Now, because I want to recreate this exactly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight this section, hit Control and C to copy it, and what I'm going to do is click over here in the spreadsheet and I'm going to come to the paste special, and you can see we get a bunch of extra options just here, and the bottom one just there says picture. So I'm just going to left click picture, and now I have a picture of exactly that highlighted area just there. So I'm just going to hit escape to get rid of the dancing ants, and now because I have a picture selected, you can see I have a new option at the top that says picture tools format. So I'm just going to go ahead and left click that. I'm going to choose crop because all I'm really interested in is that bit just there. So I'm just dragging over and hit crop again, and there you go. Now I can cheat. I can delete all of this and then build an exact replica because I know what the original looked like. Okay, now the way to select these things, obviously if you left click in them, you're ticking them. So you need to right click and hit cut, and right click and cut, and right click and cut. So there you go. Now we start at tabula rasa. We have a blank slate and we can start again. Now where you'll find these little tick boxes is in the developer tab up in the ribbon just here. So I'm just going to left click developer, and you're going to look at the insert option. Now you have two options in insert. You have form controls, and you can see you have a bunch of options in form controls, first one being the button, and you have ActiveX controls, and you can also see that the first option you have is a button, and a lot of these are replicated in both sections. Now we're going to cover form controls and ActiveX controls later in the course, but just for now the fundamental difference is that form controls are very basic, and ActiveX controls gives you greater flexibility, so you can change the formatting, you can add VBA code behind them, and they're much more powerful. But these are just going to be simple checkboxes, so all we're going to do is pick the form control checkbox and click in our first box just there. So now you can see we have checkbox 1, 2, 3. Now because I find it a little bit fiddly to keep going up to the developer tab and hitting the insert and picking out this tiny little area up here, what I like to do is I just do the one, then I'm just going to right click, hit copy to put it in the clipboard. I'm going to hit Control and V and Control and V, and now I have three boxes that all look exactly the same. So I'm just going to right click on the box and drag it up somewhere over here and move it, and on the second one I'm just going to right click, right click, and then drag it up there and put it more or less in line, so move here. Now to line these up perfectly, what you need to do is select all three. Now obviously if you select them, it just ticks them, so you need to right click, hold down shift, right click the next one, and right click the one after that. Now you can see we have another new option at the top here in the ribbon called Drawing Tools Format. So I'm just going to left click that, and what I want to do is choose Align, and I want to align them all to the top so they all line up exactly, and then I want to distribute them horizontally equally. So again, Align, distribute horizontally so they're all evenly spaced, and now with them all selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and choose Group. So now we have one graphic with three checkboxes in it. Now because it's already selected, I'm just going to hit Control and C to copy, then Control and V, Control and V, and now I get my 9 boxes. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Escape. So I'm just going to drag that one out the way. Move here and drag that one out the way. Whoops, let's move that out the way there. Move here and stick that one back up. and move here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them. So I'm just going to hold down Shift, right click the first, right click the second, and right click the third. Choose Drawing Tools, come back up. I'm going to align them to the left so the first box is always lined up, and then I'm going to align them vertically. And now what I want to do is nudge them all up a bit so they line up perfectly. So I'm just going to right click the first one, hit Shift, right click the next one, and right click the bottom one. And with my arrow keys on the keyboard, just move up. Now I want it to replicate this exactly. So we can see that the middle one is more or less in line with the E of miles. So I'm just going to move over a scudgy, and move up and click off, and there you go. That looks like an almost perfect representation of this. The next thing I need to do is just ungroup them. So I'm just going to right click, ungroup, right click, ungroup, and right click, whoops, missed it, last one, right click and ungroup. So there you go. Now I have 9 individual checkboxes. Okay, the next thing we need to do is change the text. So we're going to right click this particular box and we're going to choose Edit Text. And then I'm just going to type in car and delete the text that's already in there and hit enter. So we just need to right click each of these and change the text to match the original document. So I'm just going to pause the recording for a second while I populate all of these. Okay, there you go. Now we have a new version that we've just built from scratch that looks exactly like the original version over here. So now we've recreated that, we can happily select the image, hit delete, and there you go. Now we have something that looks exactly like the original, and now we're going to learn how to do something useful with it. At the moment, this just does exactly what the original does, and it allows us to pick multiple options in the same line, which we don't want to do. Okay, so in the next lecture, we're going to have a look at how you get these boxes to tick automatically based on a value in a cell, and we'll also have a look at a clever way of making sure that you only ever populate one of those boxes. Okay, see you in the next lecture.